Friends, we are live. Welcome to CFLW, the show for this Friday, August the 22nd. I hope each and every one of you is doing well. It is already a wet and stormy day across Central Florida, and it's going to continue to be a wet and stormy few days over the weekend as well. Coming up in the live stream, we'll talk about what's happening across our area at the present time. We're going to look at a couple of stronger storms, kind of break down the overall pattern that I expect, and then take you through the models for the daily rain chances, and of course got some city by city forecasts for you guys as well. As always, CFLW is sponsored by the Lean Law Firm of Central Florida. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. Friends, it's storm season and the storm rolls into your area. You get damage of any kind, wind, hail, hurricane, heck, you even had a burst pipe. They'll walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. They do offer free consultation and policy reviews. You really have nothing to lose. Go to leanonmelaw.com if you guys would like more information. As always, love to hear from you guys. Hope everyone is doing well. Good afternoon, Sin. How are you today? Appreciate you jumping into the live stream in the chat. Chessie in from Spring Hill, and again, another cloudy day out there. We've had some storms rolling through. Diane in Intercession City, good afternoon to you as well. Hi, my moderators, Fiona and Farah. Pat, good afternoon to you as well. Rain in North Texas, I guess right at the lunchtime hour there in Texas. More storms coming in. So friends, let's break down what's happening. This is already a very active afternoon. I mean, we've had some, good thunderstorms develop already. We actually do have one special weather statement in effect for portions of Brevard County. Just issued a little bit ago. It's going to go until 1:30. We have that easterly movement again, but wind gusts of up to 50 miles an hour are possible. Now, I threw on the current temperatures. We'll take a look at the winds coming up in just a second. They've already issued a special marine advisory for some of the coastal waters of Brevard County as well. This is the actual bulletin for the National Weather Service in Melbourne. Strong thunderstorm, and again, this was just issued about 5-10 minutes ago. Strong thunderstorm impacting central Brevard County until 1:30. Storm near Vieira and Rockledge moving east at 15. Winds of up to 50. So that's going to continue to be the main threats again for today. If you tuned in for yesterday's live stream, we had a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, including a 68-mile-an-hour wind gust at Orlando International Airport yesterday afternoon. These localized downburst winds are going to continue to be the biggest threat with thunderstorm activity. So these are the wind gusts at the hour. So again, Vieira North, the Sun Tree area, southern sides of Merritt Island, then pushing across the rivers, getting towards A1A from just south of Cocoa Beach. Satellite Beach, Indian Harbor Beach are all areas that could see some winds of around 50 miles an hour. You notice that there's not a ton of lightning with this. Now, there's been a few thunderstorms today already with copious amounts of lightning, but not everywhere. But again, at the 1 o'clock hour, we have widespread storms. And you look behind this, and we've had some decent wind gusts in other places. Back in MCO, we've already had a 30-plus mile-an-hour breeze. We've had a couple of showers and a rumble of thunder in the metro Orlando area for today. It's been a bit more clustered in Polk and Osceola counties, a little bit farther off to the south where, again, we've had some passing showers and some breezy conditions for Pinellas and Hillsborough County, so St. Pete, Pinellas Park, and Tampa back to Brandon, the Plant City area, southwest of Lakeland, about a 30-mile-an-hour breeze. So fresh winds out here, and even a few rumbles of thunder that have worked their way offshore right along the immediate coastline from Flagler County back down into Volusia County. So you live in those areas, look off towards the east. A couple of scattered showers beginning to develop in portions of Putnam and St. Johns counties as well. But again, at this point in time, one stronger storm in Brevard County, winds of up to 50 miles an hour. All of the movement today, just like yesterday, is going to be from west to east. Now look, there will still be more showers to come through. We might get a little bit of a lull in the next hour or two, but storms are expected to refire again into the later afternoon hours. They'll move from west to east. The East Coast sea breeze is pinned along the coast. And it is the I-95 corridor again for today with the best opportunity for some stronger storms. That's more than likely winds of 40 to 50 miles an hour. But I can't rule out some of those higher downburst winds that could promote an isolated severe thunderstorm just like we had yesterday. When you get those, get a little bit drier air in the mid-levels, and all that collapses down to the surface as some of these storms are developing. That's how you can get those strong downburst winds that approached 70 miles an hour yesterday. I want to also note that especially for Brevard County south, so Indian River County included, the Weather Service office, just like they did yesterday, mentioned, look, we can't rule out the opportunity for an isolated tornado threat, funnel cloud, waterspout threat, especially, again, Brevard County, south along the coastline. So it's something that have to monitor. The severe thunderstorm warning yesterday for Brevard County included a low-end risk for a tornado. So there's a little bit of rotation here in the far southeast area. So keep that in mind as well. A little bit higher threat for a couple of different spots. Now, temperatures at the hour, as you would imagine, with the blanket of clouds in some areas and the rain are all over the place. Again, generally speaking, the farther north and east that you go, it's been a little bit drier. So Ormond Beach, Daytona Beach, DeLand, lower 90s at the hour. Sanford in at 88. It's a rain-cooled 79 right now in downtown Orlando and at the airport and the southern side of Metro Orlando. Temperatures are falling as the rain moving into Brevard County. So, again, there's a lot of areas, especially in our southern zones, a lot of Osceola and Polk and Pasco and Pasco and Hillsborough and Pinellas counties. I wish it was 50 in St. Pete. Wouldn't that be nice? I like the fall weather. It's not 50. But, those are the areas that have had the most persistent rain so far and has driven the temperatures back down. Inverness right now in Citrus County coming in at 77. This is what it looks like on the visible satellite imagery with the radar data of the last couple of hours. And again, we'll talk about kind of the evolution, but you can see the thunderstorms very early today. I mean, not much after daybreak, developing along the west coast, and then everything has worked its way from west to east. So why are we in this pattern right now? Why is this so much different than what we typically see with our sea breeze storms? Well, we have another boundary up to our north, and this boundary is slowly sinking its way off to the south. And it is a focusing mechanism here to get additional thunderstorms to develop for today. And again, they're just going to be more widespread. And this boundary is going to stall in the northern side of the state. And that moisture will linger over the weekend. And it is going to be a fairly wet, stormy weekend. And yes, showers and storms are likely to develop in the morning hours, both tomorrow and Sunday mornings. Now, this could cap a little bit of the potential stronger storms in the afternoon. You know how that goes, when you get a little bit more stable air after some of these rounds of storms in the morning hours, but can't completely rule out, again, a few stronger storms in the afternoon. So let's take a look at our live cameras. Hopefully you guys are friends of the channel and we have some live cameras to show you here. We'll start off with Winter Garden in the western side of Orange County. And again, a couple of showers developing here. We've had some passing showers and storms through the morning hours in this part of Orange County. And again, you can see some of the darker bases with some of those clouds try to roll through. Obviously, if you look at the bottom of your screen, that palm tree, a little bit of a fresh wind out there as well. Even outside of the showers, 15 to 25 mile an hour winds, no doubt about it. Hey, Kyle, how you doing? Good to see you. Appreciate that. Hey, Blue Goose. Good to see you as well. Hope you're doing well. It's a nice stout 94 degrees right now in St. Augustine, and that tells the story. If you haven't had the rain, you've had a little peak of sunshine, it's another very hot, humid afternoon, but a lot of Central Florida has actually had relatively cloudy skies and some showers, but not everyone. Fairly overcast conditions right now in Winter Park, and again, this is our new camera. Brand new camera here to the channel. Call this the Lean Law Cam from Winter Park. We're looking just south of east from this camera, relatively overcast skies. So again, we're looking east with this camera. Same situation with our Conway cam. Our Winter Garden camera is looking back off towards the west. So we're just trying to bring you more live views here at CFLW to help tell the weather story. And again, that's our plan to continue to expand our camera network, and the support of the channel that you guys have already provided also helps us to continue to reinvest in the channel. So I appreciate you guys who have done so, finding that way through our super thanks and other means in the description below. So again, reinvesting in the channel. Live look outside to Conway. We actually have a couple of showers here, southeastern sides of Metro Orlando. You can see the drip drops of rain there in the foreground with, again, some of the overcast skies. Now, this is nothing that is going to be prominent, right? This is more nuisance rain and storms outside of the thunderstorm in Brevard County. But if you're headed out this afternoon, maybe you got a doctor's appointment and you need to run an errand, I would absolutely recommend you know where the umbrella is, because these showers and storms are going to be widespread. And if we do catch a little bit of a break and we do get a little bit of sunshine in the early afternoon hours, can rule out again some stronger storms redeveloping, with the wind threat being the biggest potential out there for us. It's not a bad early afternoon here in the southwest side of Orange County, looking back towards the attractions in Lake Buena Vista. Again, the Disney property is just 1 mile from this camera. We're looking right back over it right now, always keeping a close eye on this camera because we know in this part of Central Florida, there's always a lot of folks out enjoying the attractions. But at this point in time, we're looking pretty good there. So that's kind of the current synopsis here. Again, it's just a pretty active early afternoon already. We have the one strong thunderstorm in effect right now for the next 15 minutes for portions of Brevard County, moving off to the coast. So the most stout part of this storm is now just east of I-95. So Vieira and Suntree, the southern sides of Merritt Island, just really hefty, heavy rain and some gusty winds. Not a ton of lightning, right? Only 4 or 5 lightning strikes here in the past 15 minutes. And again, I'll keep an eye on the breeze. We've got Patrick AFB there, or Space Force Station, with the south wind at around 18 for a gust. But, even behind this, you're still picking up some 30+ mile-an-hour breezes from time to time. And with this part of the storm that is not severe, the Cape has actually just reported a 31 mile-an-hour wind. It's going to say that has to be new, right? 1 o'clock. And again, you will see current live conditions scrolling at the bottom of your screen. We like to keep you guys nice and updated here on CFLW. So again, active forecast because of the front in play, thunderstorms that'll continue to roll on through. There is going to be the opportunity for some excessive rain near this front. So if you look on this map, the browns still well north of us is the best chance for excessive rainfall in portions of central and southern and southeast Georgia today. But even that low risk does extend down our west coast all the way into Tampa, St. Pete. Basically what this graphic is telling you in this area in green is there's a 5 to 10% chance of exceeding flash flood criteria. And we have had some flood or flash flood, either flood advisories or flash flood warnings the last several afternoons for very localized areas of Central Florida. But we have picked up 4 to 6 inches of rain in a couple of locations, so it's not out of the question. And today, we're going to favor our west coast and then up to St. Augustine and Palm Coast in our east coast areas. Most of us probably will not exceed flash flood criteria, but it gives you an idea of the amount of rain that we are likely to see. Then if we go over here, I always forget where this is. This is hilarious. There we go. If we look at the day 2, so Saturday, we extend it down a little bit farther south. So this front is sagging south through the weekend. It's taking copious amounts of moisture with it, and it's just kind of dragging some of the heavier rain south. So for tomorrow, now it's basically all of our central and northern areas and western zones from I-4 north and west, with the chance for some excessive rain. Again, it's not going to be widespread, but the opportunity will be there from Palm Coast to Daytona Beach, Deltona, Sanford, Orlando, Lake Buena Vista, Lakeland, Tampa, St. Pete, even back down towards the Bradenton area, Tarpon Springs, Spring Hill, Crystal River, Ocala, all included in the low-end opportunity to exceed flash flood criteria. Again, not a significant risk, but you get the idea. And then on Sunday, well, what else is new? With this front continuing to just kind of meander over the north central part of the state, the excessive rainfall threat now basically encompasses all of our area for our Sunday. So you get the idea that the rain chances are going to stay very high, and the opportunity for even heavier rain will actually grow from now through the end of the weekend. So get prepared for that. If you have outdoor plans, it's gonna be, again, is it a complete washout? No. But are you going to be struggling to find many dry hours and locations throughout the weekend? Yes. What I would say with that is, again, if, maybe you have a round of golf planned, just keep it in mind. Yes, Blue Goose, thumbs up for the cameras indeed. And yes, Farah, would it be nice to have 50? I like fall weather. I like cooler weather. Look, born and raised here in Florida, I obviously don't mind the heat and the humidity, but I yearn for having worked in other places across the country for seasons as well. It's a nice respite from what we've been seeing. And by the way, if you haven't had, this is the heat index, if you haven't had the storms, you are in the triple digits in a couple of spots. So I think Blue Goose said it was 94. We got a feels like temperature there of at least 100. But look at this. Ormond Beach feels like temperature right now at 108. It's more isolated today. But again, if you haven't had the clouds and the showers passing by, it's already stinking hot. Seminole County, Sanford, it feels like 100 at the airport at the hour. So pretty rough conditions, again, if you haven't had the rain. Still keeping an eye on this special weather statement. Goes for the next 12 minutes. Again, a summary of that looks like this. We have a storm moving east at 15. Storm moving east at 15 with a max wind of 50. Melbourne, Rockledge, Cocoa Beach, Satellite Beach, Merritt Island included. Now, again, the Weather Service in Melbourne specifically mentioned this area. We can't rule out the risk of an isolated tornado or a water spout, some rotation. So, before I came on, I was keeping an eye on that. We'll keep a vigilant eye as well. Everything looks to be pretty linear at this point in time with straight line winds, but always as these storms move off the coast and they go over, the Indian and the Banana Rivers there, before they get offshore, there's a little bit of a friction difference. There could be a spin up. And then the other thing too is they like to produce some really gusty winds right off the coast. We saw that yesterday with that severe thunderstorm warning. We had some 40+ mile-an-hour winds along the barrier islands, but I was clocking winds of 55 just offshore. So things to kind of monitor here as this storm pulls off. And there's additional heavier rain and storms that is developing at the hour all the way down to Palm Bay, Malabar, Grand Valkyria. Again, not a heck of a lot of lightning, but heavier rain and some gusty winds there. And that'll obviously cool things off. Good thunderstorm activity in southern sides of Osceola County as well. And again, at this point in time, once that activity pulls offshore, there does look to be a bit of a break in the action. Now, okay, we get a couple of hours of maybe a little bit drier conditions, but what's the problem with that? Now you clear things out a little bit, heat up the lower levels of the atmosphere, and you can turn yourself back into a stronger wind event coming up in the afternoon hours because of that. There's always a couple of things here. So I'm gonna show you guys a little bit of the behind the scenes, because why not? This is what we call a mesoscale analysis. If I look at what's called surface cape, there's a couple of areas here where that is a little bit higher, and it is Brevard County back towards Palm Bay, and it is along the west coast as well. Basically, that's instability or lift in the atmosphere, right? And then there's a little bit more of a couple of other situations here as far as the instability. So this is just kind of looking at some of the instability within the atmosphere, so you guys get an idea of what I look at behind the scenes as well. Cape is that, and then if there's any inhibition. This graphic right now that I'm showing you, if there was anything that was stop the storms from developing, it would pop up. But you get the idea that there's a little bit more juice in the atmosphere down here. And so that's why the Weather Service office is mentioning some of that activity. So something to keep an eye on because of that. So let me bring back on the radar. All right. So there you go. And by the way, tropics wise, right? No need to talk about the tropics for us. There's nothing within earshot that has any potential to come into Central Florida anytime soon. Obviously, we got as lucky with Aaron as you possibly could. It was what we call the Goldilocks track. This storm missed every landmass with its hurricane force winds, including the Category 5 winds in the Northeast Caribbean, and then the Cat 2 to Cat 3 winds, just east of North Carolina. Now look, the water inundation was something. It was still destructive, with the 10 to 20 foot breakers along the North Carolina coastline. But as far as getting hurricane force winds on shore, the fact that this storm lasted as long as it didn't hit any location in that way, island or east coast of the United States, was truly remarkable. It was about the best we could do. Hey Kendall, how you doing? Freeport in the house in the northern Bahamas, Grand Bahama. Appreciate you tuning in, Kendall. Hope you're doing well. Hey Pat. Good to see you again. Appreciate you jumping in as well. Hi, Amy. How are you? Ormond Beach is in the house as well. Appreciate you guys. Again, wet, stormy, early afternoon here. We've got the one special weather statement. But now let's get into the forecast. So we've already kind of talked about how wet it's going to be. The first thing actually real quick is just to bring up these advisories. These should pop on very quickly. We still have some coastal advisories I do want to mention. Now you've got your special marine warning because of the thunderstorm in Brevard County, but you still have a rip current statement, and you still have other small craft advisories and things in that nature as well here. So if we look at this special weather statement, you're looking at thunderstorms moving through. And it's just not going to be great boating weather, obviously, here. But the rip currents, I don't know why anyone would still want to get back in the water after what Aaron has done and churned things up. But we're expecting there to be very churned up conditions along our East Coast for the remainder of the weekend. So keep that in mind. Boaters, obviously keep a very close eye on the thunderstorm activity as well. All right, let's break down the model. We'll start off with the HER model, our high resolution rapid refresh. Again, this is a fantastic local model. It updates hourly. It only goes out 48 hours, but for localized storms, it does some great work. So let's bring this up. Let's see here. Might have to tell it to do that. You know, what's interesting is you guys see no change to it, but the reflectivity actually wasn't selected, so it wasn't going to loop. All right, you get the idea of what is in store for us here through the weekend, and that's just a pretty darn wet and stormy forecast with an isolated stronger storm as a possibility, the winds being the primary threat. Still could see some rotation here from time to time as well, especially in our southern and southeast coastal areas. So get prepared for this, my friends. All of the activity over the weekend should continue to move in from west to east. So this is a snapshot of 2 o'clock. I think the model has a really good handle on this, actually. The stronger storms, coastal sides of southern Volusia, especially Brevard County, then some healthier activity in Osceola County, all moving offshore at 2 o'clock with mainly dry conditions in our northern area. So the model initial state looks good to me. Again, still some cloud coverage, right? But not a lot of rain potentially through 4 o'clock, starting at 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock and maybe even 5 o'clock. Now we could get some stronger storms closer to the boundary, just like we did yesterday. But yesterday they were kind of confined to the Jacksonville area and I-10 towards Lake City. They could sink a little bit farther south this afternoon. So then you could get some stronger storms in St. Johns County and maybe Putnam and Alachua County, Levy County towards Flagler County by 5 o'clock. So a little bit farther south sink of some of those initial storms. And then again, we'll just see how it develops into the early evening hours here. You know, some of the models are a little bit more active with some of the activity this afternoon. The HER model's backed off a little bit, but again, it's just kind of a short-term reprieve if anything else. Notice that thunderstorms are likely to redevelop again right around the sunrise hour or just before along the west coast. Those shouldn't be severe, but they could be stronger and wake you up a little bit early if you live in Citrus County or, you know, coastal sides of Hernando and even Pasco counties. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, could be some rumbles of thunder. I mean, I think the first rumble of thunder I heard today was just before 10 a.m. So you get that idea as a possibility. And then deeper into our Saturday that we go, look how wet and stormy it's going to end up being with the East Coast sea breeze kind of, again, staying and being penned along the East Coast. As the storms move off towards the west, they should become a little bit higher amplitude, if you will, stronger overall across I-95, US 1 and A1A, where gusty winds will be the primary threat there. And then still eventually having the ability to push offshore. But a lot of green on this map. And this is Sunday morning, and we're running it right back here where by daybreak and just beyond on Sunday, we could already have fairly widespread showers and storms. Hey, Pat, friends are feeling this all the way up in New Jersey. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, you know, obviously I covered Aaron very extensively on the Media Mundo channel. It's one of the other channels that I do. If you haven't subscribed to Media Mundo and you want to check out the more Caribbean and Bahamas forecast and just the overall tropical outlook each and every day, subscribe to that. I've been doing that channel longer. I think we're over 56,000 subscribers. I think now here on this channel, and I appreciate you guys, we're somewhere around 2,400 subscribers, but 56,000 subscribers there on the Media Mundo channel. So we got a great community there. We got a great community here, you know, building this channel up, and I appreciate you guys. Hey, Double A, how you doing? Appreciate you saying that as well. Appreciate all the kind comments. Really means a lot. Appreciate you guys taking a quick second to jump in the chat. You know, that means a lot as well. This is why I do this interaction, so we can talk live for you guys. Again, this is a live only channel. I do the Monday and Friday shows, so you guys have a good idea. So if, you know, you're watching this live or you're watching this in the recorded version, because this does become a recorded video you can watch at your leisure. under the live tab of the channel, you guys have a good idea of what's happening for the weekend, right? So I'm getting you prepared for the weekend, but obviously if there's any impactful weather, just like yesterday afternoon, and I need to jump on live again to cover it with you guys live, I'm gonna be doing that. But now you guys understand, okay, you know, anywhere I go this weekend, I need the umbrella. I should anticipate storms to be out there in the morning hours, not just in the afternoon. I should anticipate if I live on the eastern side of the state that I have a better chance for some stronger storms as well. So let me break down your forecast over the weekend. Looks like this. Hey, guess what? There's not much of a difference in Orlando. Again, it's just a stormy weekend, guys, and this should linger into at least Monday as well. So a 70% chance for storms in the Orlando metro area. Again, just depending on when the storms arrive, our daytime highs could be anywhere from 90 to 93 degrees. I think we'll get a little bit more sunshine overall in the afternoon hours on Monday, so pump it back up. Morning lows in the mid 70s, but it's just a wet forecast. And again, locally heavy rainfall is not out of the question throughout Metro Orlando. Sanford, Orlando, Kissimmee, all included in this forecast. Along the West Coast, you should anticipate your storms to arrive a little bit earlier. That doesn't mean you won't get redeveloping storms in the afternoon, but it's one of those situations where, if you live across US 19 or Tampa, St. Pete, and we have so many big cities along the West Coast, Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, Bradenton, Sarasota, up the West Coast to the Nature Coast, do anticipate there being some storms around as early as daybreak or even before, and then potentially some storms redeveloping in the afternoon, then passing showers and storms, and still a 60% chance on Monday. Even here, look at these temperatures, my friends. Daytime highs in the lower 90s, and your morning lows likely in these areas will not drop below 80 degrees. How about that? The corner of my eye, see a little bit of green. Hey, Amy. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. A $5 super stickers. Let's get the hearts out in chat for Amy. Appreciate Amy supporting the channel in that way. Appreciate all you guys taking a second to acknowledge Amy and the $5 super stickers that she just gave. So appreciate you, Amy. Thank you so much. Thanks for being a friend of the channel. Hi, Shannon. How are you? You can see the rain. Have you gotten any? I hope you guys have. And again, if you guys need some of that rain, I hope you get some as well. It is very area dependent here in Central Florida. We've had good rain, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone, has had it. So for Daytona Beach, for the East Coast, again, it's a stormy forecast. We could still get some rain and storms to hit the East Coast before noon, but they should be traveling from west to east overall. So if you look inland, you'll see them coming. But it's a wet forecast across the beaches. And again, the rip currents are going to be out there. It's not great boating weather for this weekend, to be honest. 70% chance for storms, 60% chance on Monday. Highs here will even nudge to around 90 degrees with morning lows that will be in the mid 70s. So the best I can do over the weekend is a 70% chance for storms in your area. You just got to get prepared for a pretty wet forecast. Back out to what's going on live outside here. Again, CFLW, and I appreciate Amy as we reinvest in the channel. Thank you very much. Winter Garden, there you go. And by the way, I love these little crowns you guys get. Amy jumps into the first place with the $5 super stickers. It's just like kind of a little leaderboard. I have nothing to do with it. YouTube is in charge of it, but I think it's kind of funny. It's all about interaction, and I appreciate all of our friends interacting with the channel. So there's Winter Garden. Again, a lot of little decks of different clouds out there. You got some thin, high wispies in the background, but a little bit of building cloud coverage. Nothing is very prominent at the hour. And again, this is kind of indicative of the air stabilizing a little bit. So this is why we could quiet down over the next hour or two in interior locations before we see more storms redevelop. It's about the same situation we saw earlier in Winter Park, where again, fairly overcast skies, some filtered sunshine beginning to come back in, and that should allow us to develop a few thunderstorms into the afternoon hours as well. And we are getting some rain right now in Conway. So if you live in the southeast side of Metro Orlando, nice shower passing by. Again, gray overcast. So this is more what we call stratiform rain. This is not going to produce very heavy rainfall. It's not going to produce a lot of thunder, but it is going to keep things on the wetter side here as well. So again, live look to Conway, nice shower developing over the area. This is the kind of rain that really helps out the yards and the gardens because it really can soak into the ground very nicely. You're not having, 3-4 inch rainfall rates per hour, which is just producing a lot of runoff. This is going to allow the rain to really get into the soil here. So that's the kind of rain, if you're desperate for it, that we like to see. And in the Disney area, the attractions Lake Buena Vista, again, overcast conditions, but relatively dry at the hour there as well. Blue Goose says, your app says rain soon. What app is that, Blue Goose? If it's not the Mediamundo or CFLW app, which does not exist yet, by the way, I don't believe it. Just don't buy it. Hey, Justin Perry, how you doing? Daytona, partly cloudy, clouds to the west, and a hot day there as well. Yeah, appreciate you letting us know. Surf is very rough, 4 to 6 feet, bit of a chop out there as well. Yep. Appreciate you guys giving Amy some love. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's coming, Blue Goose. Blue Goose is up in St. Augustine, a very, very frequent watcher of the channel. Always keeping an eye out for him. And again, I mean, it is. If you haven't had some rain, it should be coming soon. And that activity is moving south and east at the same point in time. Now, we've hit the 1:30 hour, so I do want to go back to Brevard County and just let everyone know that the bulk of that storm is now offshore, and it is moving offshore. It's moving off towards the east, right? So we're beginning to see the worst storm go away, but please know that the Patrick Space Force Station did have a 43-mile-an-hour wind gust just a second ago. Their latest report was 30, but we did see a 43, didn't we? See if that pops back up. Yeah, a little bit earlier, right? So they did have at least a 42, but I thought I saw a 43. I was at 124, so that's very recently. That's what I thought, right? So, we did have some winds that justified the special weather statement. That's basically what I wanted to say, is that the special weather statement from the Weather Service was justified with the 40-plus mile-an-hour winds. Now, there's still going to be really gusty winds right along the immediate coast for the next 5 or 10 minutes. So, Merritt Island, southern sides of the Cape, but then everywhere else, Cocoa Beach, Satellite Beach, Indian Harbor Beach, all the beaches in the Atlantic, all the way back down towards Miko and Barefoot Bay, strong storm, gusty winds, everything pulling offshore, right? Good news is I haven't seen anything about rotation. Again, the Weather Service mentioned a low-end tornado threat, but when we look at these winds and the velocity, you notice how they're all pushing in one direction, the red away from the radar site. The brighter colors are your stronger winds. And again, these winds can really get significant. Let me show you off of the coastline here. And we're very close to the radar site. So these are very ground truth winds. You have some 50-mile-an-hour winds here being produced out of the leading edge of this storm. And then you get just a little bit of rotation here. Now look, this is water spout potential. The winds are very weak with the rotation here, but this is what you get. You get these areas, same situation here. You get these little areas when they come offshore of inherent rotation with cells like this. And if nothing else, it's a good lowering and probably a little bit of twist out there as well. But again, that's moving away, it's moving offshore. But that's always what I look for. And even here, you got to look into the rivers as well to make sure that as these storms move across into the Barrier Islands, everything's okay. Fresh breeze here, that's more straight line than anything and very weak. So kind of near Malabar, you would probably see a lowering here, but just really broad rotation, nothing very tight. But this here could eventually become a water spout. But that's what I look for. Back over to reflectivity. Yeah, Blue Goose. Hey, you got it, Justin Perry, I appreciate that. Blue Goose, my man, I appreciate you. Hey, maybe we can end up getting a weather app down the road with your support, Blue Goose. Guys, $19.99 super thanks from Blue Goose. Let us get the hearts out for Blue Goose. A big friend of the channel, watches all the time, gives me great weather updates in St. Augustine, and I do appreciate Blue Goose jumping in the chat. and helping things out. Thank you very much, pal. Much, much appreciated from you. I know I can do that. Make sure I did that with Amy's as well. Amy, can I do that with yours? I can give you the thumbs up. So again, I'm looking kind of like in the administration mode of the channel here. I don't want to put Amy in timeout. Could you imagine that? I'm trying to give Amy a thumbs up or a like on her super stickers, and I end up putting her in timeout instead. That would be a bungle I would do. Oh my God. Thank you, pal. I appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. Hearing some thunder as well. I got you. All right. So yeah, I mean, again, northern coast, we're getting some thunderstorms up there, and it's just going to be a wet forecast, guys. Storms will redevelop this afternoon. The bulk of the heaviest stuff is pushing its way offshore at this point in time. Again, I think in the next couple of hours, we get a bit of a reprieve overall. Again, I wish the temperature was really 50 in St. Pete, but you get the idea of the temperatures here, upper 70s, lower 80s. I'm expecting those temperatures to rebound at least a little bit in the afternoon hours. This is a look at what's been going on with the storms over the last few hours here. Let me bring back on our current timestamp so you guys can see that. So, to break this down for you guys one more time, expecting a little bit quieter conditions overall, not for everyone, through 4 or 5 o'clock. We'll then have to look out for storms just like they did yesterday to begin to redevelop again, and they could be strong to potentially isolated severe, with those downburst winds being the biggest threat. If you guys didn't hear or you didn't join me for yesterday's live stream, the Orlando International Airport had a 68-mile-an-hour wind gust yesterday afternoon with the storm. So they can produce some damaging winds. It'll be something I'll keep a very close eye on. Then for the rest of the weekend, we're just wet and stormy. Again, potentially, not a ton of severe storms, but I think some of the stronger storms are still likely. But a wet forecast overall, because again, this boundary is just drifting off to the south. It started up towards LaGrange and Macon earlier in the day, and it's already worked its way into south central Georgia, and eventually it's going to get south of I-10, and it's going to set up shop, and it's not going to move, and we're just going to see waves of energy coming from the eastern Gulf. West Coast sea breeze is open for business, should push everything towards the east coast the remainder of the weekend and produce just very stormy conditions overall. Yeah, I didn't mean to. I didn't, luckily. But it's hard to explain behind the scenes, but I wanted to basically give Amy some love. And when I clicked on her super stickers, you could do all different kinds of things. And even right now, I just got out of the live chat because I don't have a keyboard on this. This is a touch screen, and it's very, very touchy, if you will, as well. Okay, guys. Anyone have any specific questions about the forecast while we're here, right? Feel free to let me know right now. As they say, or forever hold your peace. It's a wet, stormy weekend. There's no doubt about it. So if you do have outdoor plans, just keep that in mind. I would throw the umbrella in the back seat of the car. And you guys know if there's any active storms to cover over the weekend, I'll jump on and we'll do that live for you guys as well. There is a possibility, you could get some 40-mile-an-hour winds in a special weather statement from time to time, but I can't rule out the fact that we're going to see the potential for some stronger to isolated severe storms too. Lightning, is always going to come along for the ride as well. But these are gusty wind producers more than anything. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for the live stream right now then. Please remember that CFLW is sponsored by the Lien Law Firm of Central Florida. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They do cover the entire state. So you live anywhere in Florida, from the Panhandle down to the Keys. They can walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. It's always a big hassle. You want an advocate on your side, someone who's going to make sure that you don't get taken advantage of. They do offer free consultation and policy review, so you got nothing to lose. You get some damage to your home or property from the storms here. Make sure you go to lienonmelaw.com if you guys would like more information. Appreciate you guys taking a quick second and liking the channel. If you haven't as of yet, liking this live stream, subscribing to the channel as well. Again, appreciate all my friends in the chat. Hope you're doing well. If you have a specific question about the forecast, even if you're watching this in the recorded version, feel free to drop it down in the comment section below. I'm happy to answer that for you guys as well. Friends, appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of the day. whenever I need to come back on, later today, over the weekend, make sure you have the notifications on, because I'm only live when there's some impactful weather here in Central Florida. I'll monitor things, obviously, at the very latest. I'll see you guys on Monday for CFLW, the show at 1 p.m. But with the wet and stormy conditions, you just never know. So that's why I have those notifications on. Friends, take care. Have a great rest of your afternoon. I'll see you soon right here on the channel.